This is a PlayStation 3 Fat machine, which I literally found. I acquired it for nothing and thought I was lucky. But it turns out that it had a number of problems, most of which were easy to fix. But the Blu-ray player was not functioning. It turned out to be the control board on the Blu-ray player. So I had to replace the board. Unfortunately, when you do that, it becomes unmarried. There is some sort of serial number on the Blu-ray player controller card, which has to match a number on the machine. The matching up of those numbers is called marrying, like marrying a husband and wife, I guess. And the Blu-ray player simply won't do much for you until you do that. So I need to remarry the Blu-ray player to the rest of the machine. Now, the first step in doing this, you have to downgrade the firmware. You have to go back to version 3.55. Now, I have already done that, and you can see that in a different video. So now that I've downgraded it, I now have to remarry it. Now, the remarrying process involves putting the machine into what's called factory service mode. In order to put the PlayStation 3 into factory service mode, you need an external device known as a jig. Now, one of the devices that can act as a jig is the Texas Instruments 84 Plus graphing calculator. And it just so happens that I happen to own one. If you're not lucky enough to own one of these machines, the Sony PSP machine can act as a jig, or you can buy a device that looks like a thumb drive, which is already programmed to act as a jig for a PlayStation 3. But naturally, I'm going to go with the Texas Instruments 84 Plus because I just happen to have one. This is the screen of my personal computer. There are two pieces of software you need to download in order to perform the remarrying procedure, employing the Texas Instruments 84 calculator as a jig. The first program is this one, PS3 JB, and this is the version number, and it's in the zip format. And adjacent to it here is the unzipped folder. The other piece of software that needs to be obtained is this one, PS3 BD Remarry.zip, again in the zip format, and here is the unzipped folder. I'm going to open the decompressed folder. These files you're going to copy onto a thumb drive. The thumb drive has to be formatted as FAT32. These files marked self, these are the ones involved in the actual remarrying process. Now these two files here, these are package files. These files are supposed to enable you to remarrying without going into factory service mode. Unfortunately, they don't really seem to work, so I would probably just ignore those. Again, a README file. Now this file here, toggleqa.package, this is something to be employed after you're done with everything else. This is not actually related to the remarrying process, but it is something that it is advised that you install after remarrying. We will take the contents of the PS3 BD Remarry folder and we will copy them onto a thumb drive that has been formatted as FAT32. Okay, now we have all the files copied onto the thumb drive. We'll be using this thumb drive after we put the PS3 into factory service mode. This is a software that's going to go on to the TI-84 Plus calculator. Now I'm going to open this folder, and there are three contents. This is the one that counts. This is the one you're going to transfer to the TI-84 Plus calculator. This is a README file, which contains some important information, and here's also some source files, but it's Probably something you're not going to be using. Just in case you're not aware of how to connect your 84 Plus to your computer and transfer files, we'll just go through that. If you already know, you can skip over all of this. Of course, you need an 84 Plus calculator and a computer, but then you need a USB cable to link them. On one end, you have a Type A connector to connect to your PC, and then you have a mini B connector to connect to the top of your 84 Plus. Now, with the 84 Plus turned on, I'm going to go ahead and connect our mini B connector, and we should hear the connection sound when we do. That sound right there. Okay, we're now connected. On the PC, we then run the TI Connect software, and we click on this application that says Send to TI Device. We will select Device, and it has found our device. We will click Select. We will select Browse to find our application. We navigate to the location of that folder, and there's our application. And we click Open, and then Send to Device. And that's it. We can now disconnect the 84 Plus from the PC. Now if we check out our apps, and we scroll down, and you can see right there, there's our application, PS3 JB. Okay, now we have our PlayStation 3 with the top removed, just so we can see things a little better. We'll take our Texas Instruments 84 Plus calculator, turn it on, go to Apps, scroll down to PS3 JB, PlayStation 3 jailbreak, and we'll go ahead and launch that. And this is the opening screen, attributing it to the brilliant Brandon Wilson who created this program. And I have to say this is a very impressive piece of work. Hit the enter again, and here's the first screen. Now at the bottom of the screen, it should say installed ? It should say yes. So let's go ahead. We have 2 and 3 here. If you hit 2, it will change that to installed yes. Okay, so now it says yes, we want that on yes. Now there's a number of options. We'll go to number 5 and select options. Stage 1 payload, none. That's what we want. Payload 2, none. FW compat, none. Turn off after. It says 300 seconds. It doesn't really, that's 5 minutes. It doesn't really matter because that doesn't concern us. Use device 6. We want that to say no. And emulate jig. We want that to say yes. And dongle ID. I'm just going to leave it on AAAA. Now we save our settings by hitting F1. And it takes us back to our screen. Now to start the program, we press 1, connect your PS3 to your calculator using a USB cable now. Okay. Here's our USB cable, USB-A on one end and mini B on the other. The mini B we connect to the top of our 84 Plus. And the other end, we connect to the right-hand terminal on our PlayStation. Okay. Now we start the PlayStation 3. In this particular way, you have to hit the power button and then followed by the eject button immediately after. If we've done this right, it should quickly power itself back off again. Okay, that time it clearly did not work. The PlayStation 3 just started normally. If it didn't work the first time, try again. And we go ahead and shut off. Now I'm going to go ahead and shut off the main power as well. Kind of let everything reset. Okay. Try it again. One button and then the other. Okay, we got it that time. Good. The power went back off again. And if we look at our TI-84 Plus screen, the word done has appeared in the lower right-hand corner. Excellent. So our PlayStation 3 should now be in factory service mode. We will now disconnect the 84 Plus calculator because we no longer need it. I'm going to go ahead and start the PlayStation 3, and we should see that it is now in factory service mode. Now we boot up and we see a big red square in the lower right corner that says PlayStation 3 Factory Service Mode. We will go ahead and shut the PlayStation 3 down again. Now that we have confirmed that the PlayStation 3 is in factory service mode, we'll now take our thumb drive in which we have the Remarry files, and we will put it into the right USB port. And we go ahead and turn it on.
It boots into this screen. The PlayStation 3 is in the process of remarrying the Blu-ray player. We will slow this recording down. The red letters will say drive init executing. If successful, it will flash drive init pass in blue letters for a split second, and then it will shut off. If the remarry process fails, this screen will display with the giant letters NG. If this occurs, consider the possibility that your Blu-ray player is defective or not properly connected.
Okay, now back at the PlayStation 3, we will remove our thumb drive. Hit the power button again. Now we start up the PlayStation after remarrying the Blu-ray player. Of course, it is still in factory service mode, but now the Blu-ray player should be remarried. We shall go ahead and insert a game disc and see if it accepts it. And there it is. It sees it, indicating that it is remarried. Now, one thing to be careful of, it might come up with a message like this, saying your system is in version 3.55 and you need to update it to something later in order to play this game. And it's sitting ominously on the yes. Whatever you do, do not click that yes. I've read that it can lock your system in factory service mode and you can't get out. In any event, we're going to be smart and we're going to click no. Well, maybe we can do that some other time. We have demonstrated that the Blu-ray player is in fact remarried and that it is now usable. Now, while we're still in factory service mode, we're going to load in a couple of Blu-ray movie discs to transfer the digital rights files. This will make sure that we can play Blu-ray movies after we take it out of factory service mode. I will go ahead and eject the game disk. And we will put in a Blu-ray movie disc. And it sees the movie disc. Okay, great. The Blu-ray movie's playing. We'll go ahead and eject that movie now. I put in several different Blu-ray discs just to make sure I got all the digital rights files. Again, the time to load on those files is while you're in factory service mode. If you wait till after you get out of factory service mode, your system might not play Blu-ray discs. Now that we have successfully remarried the Blu-ray player and we have loaded in the digital rights files, we no longer need to be in factory service mode. We'll now shut off the PlayStation 3 and take it out of factory service mode. In order to take our PlayStation 3 out of factory service mode, we're going to take that thumb drive that we used to put it into factory service mode. We're going to plug it into our personal computer and make some changes. We put our thumb drive back into our PC to make some changes. We no longer need these files, and we can just remove them. And now we go to this directory that says get out of factory service mode. Okay, we take this file and we copy it to the root directory. And we change its name. We don't need the exit underscore. And that's the file that's going to get us out of factory service mode and back into regular mode. We now remove the thumb drive from the computer. Now we take our thumb drive and we put it back in the right-hand slot.
We turn the PlayStation back on. The green light comes on. It flashes red briefly, it then flashes yellow several times and goes back to green. This indicates that the PlayStation 3 has been taken out of factory service mode.
And the system will start up normally. So we are now out of factory service mode. And we can go ahead and put in a game disk, back running normally, and there we go. Now, we have install package files here. Those are on our thumb drive. Now, it shows toggleqa.package. Now, I've actually already installed this, so I'm not going to reinstall it. I tried running this earlier before I had remarried the Blu-ray, and it wouldn't run. It would just, screen would just go black, and I assume that's because the Blu-ray wasn't married. Now that the Blu-ray player is married, I'm going to try it again. Okay, toggle QA. And let's go ahead and I'm going to run it. It should beep 3 times and go black. Beautiful. Now it should come back to life. Here we are. Excellent. I'm not 100% sure what this program does. I believe it has something to do with being able to change version numbers of the firmware. That is, it enables you to install firmware that is of an earlier number. Otherwise, the system just won't let you do that. We will see if we have it installed. We go to Settings. We scan down to network, and here's what we have to do. Strange way to activate this thing. You have to hold down L1, L2, and R1, R2 at the same time. Plus the left thumbstick has to be depressed, and the down key has to be depressed. So this is going to take some coordination. L1, L2, L3, down, R1, R2. Now, if you're able to do all of that correctly, you'll see additional choices. There, okay? These additional choices appear. That means we have the program toggled on. We'll go to the debug settings. Go to System Update Debug. We want to turn that on. Okay, now I believe that enables us to install either higher or lower level firmware revisions. We are still on version 3.55 Rogero downgrader. Now at this point we would then go ahead and install whatever custom firmware we want to install. But the whole purpose of this project for me was to get the Blu-ray player running. I mean, that's why I had to downgrade it, and that's why I had to put it in factory service mode. Again, just to recap, this is a machine that I basically got for nothing. It was a throwaway, and the Blu-ray player was not working. So it really wasn't of much use to me, so I had to go up this rather steep learning curve to learn all these things. I take no credit for any of the great work that all of these hackers have done. I'm just the beneficiary of it. I'm just making a little video for newbies like myself who want to take advantage of this. Okay, well, it looks like we've been successful. We got our Blu-ray player running, and we've got ourselves a free PlayStation 3. Thanks for watching.